I'm ready for you. Go ahead.
Okay. I feel like nervous to like talk. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Friends with Books. I am one of your FWBs, Read Reviews by Jess or just Jess.
And I am your other FWB, Booked with Emily or just M. And today we have the most special guest on the pod. Wait till you find out. New York Times best-selling author Tessa fucking Bailey is on the pod with us.
Hi, everybody. So good to be here. Thank you. That's my middle name. Fucking is always. That's what my mom calls me.
It's on your birth certificate, actually. We are so excited that you are here, Tessa. I don't think you actually understand. Like I said, this is our Super Bowl. Like, we are like, this, put us in, coach. This is our moment. This is what we've been waiting for.
That means a lot to me, really. I know, like, it just, like, never gets easier talking to your favorite authors, even for authors. It's like, actually just talking to people is hard. So yeah. I'm like really glad that you guys reached out to me. I'm glad to be here. Like I said before we started recording, like authors are like spiders.
Totally.
We're more scared of you than you are of us. So it's just a friend chat, and I couldn't be more excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Well,
we actually have met you before, and I don't know if you remember this because this whole time was probably a blur for you, but we met at a Polycon.
Oh my God.
And we have photographic proof, so you can't deny it. Does this jog your memory, Tessa?
Yeah. So this was post signing. I love how you have like a PowerPoint ready.
I was ready to share my screen.
You're like,
do you remember this?
This is your life. So yeah, this was after like the big signing that was like wonderful. It was a wonderful signing, but it was also really hot because the air conditioning broke, and like in this conference room, I actually turned to my assistant at one point and I was like, I think I'm gonna pass out.
Oh my gosh.
It was so hot
in my life, but I just got this weird tingling sensation in my fingertips, and I was like, oh no, it's happening. So I was like, by the time that post signing sparkler happened, I was like, yes, everything was a blur. Like my shoes were off, like the mask was off. I was like, whatever, if I die, I die.
This is it. This is where I go, surrounded by fans.
And it was great, and like everybody was so excited in that sparkler to like actually have a few seconds with authors, because like the signing is so quick, so that's why those sparklers are so great, because you can actually go like, let's chat for a few minutes, then take a picture. So yeah, I don't remember anything, but I'm sure you guys were lovely.
Yeah, no, it was great. There were so many people though, and it was so incredibly hot. There were so many people in that room too, but we like beeline straight for your line. We were like, Tessa's in here. So.
Thank you. I appreciate
yes, we did. So now that we've jogged your memories that you don't have,
yeah, we go way back, Tessa.
Now that we haven't jogged your memory.
Let's jump into a little fun this or that, and as Emily would call this is foreplay, if you will.
Essential.
Needed.
So we've got like a list of questions here, and these can be rapid fire, or you can go into as much detail as you want. But they're like book related. So, do you want to kick us off?
Yes, I think this is probably the most appropriate question for you, Tessa. What is the steamiest book you have ever read?
Oh my God, that's like such a hard question. I probably, I don't, like, let me think of, oh my God, for a second. No, because I'm completely blanking, but I feel like it was probably a Cressley Cole book, maybe, or maybe a Kate Robert book. I feel like it's gonna have to be a paranormal, because there's something about like fated mates and the whole like like I have to meet her. I have to like do this immediately. My body is responding to her, and I have to like chase her down into the woods and make it happen. Like there's something that's so like just the act of like mating and like having to do it to survive is so hot to me. I know that there is a book that I always say is the hottest book I've ever read in my life, and now I can't remember what it is. It's going to kill me later. I know.
It's okay. You're starstruck.
Yeah, we put you on the spot.
You guys have really thrown me for a loop here. No, but yeah, I'll think of it. You'll be in the middle of a question in like 10 minutes, and I'll just go, that's it.
Please do. Please do. Okay.
Okay.
A book you wish you could live in.
I feel like it's going to be wow. I just got finished making a TikTok about Mariana Zapata books.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like I'm gonna go with one of hers. I've always had this like fantasy of being an assistant to an athlete. And so the Wall of Winnipeg in me is like, yeah, she's like the assistant to this like surly athlete who doesn't like even let her know that he's in love with her, but he just like secretly behind the scenes is doing all these things for her. And she's like, I'm just here training for a marathon and like putting up with his scratchy ass. And, like, she has no clue that he's like dying for her.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. That's something I always fantasize about. Like when I'm just
That's a good fantasy.
creating romance novels in my own head for myself, it's usually something like that. Like I'm an assistant to an actor or an assistant to. This is too much information.
No, this is not enough. Keep going.
It's so funny. I was just with Jess and we were talking about like what we'd want to do in life. And I told her, I said, I've always wanted to be like an assistant to someone, just make schedules and just like plan meetings.
I used to have this really elaborate fantasy of like, I was gonna run into Robert Pattinson and like during Twilight, like the height of the Twilight sensation. That I was gonna run into him and like just like save his life. And then he was gonna be like, I need you. You have to be my assistant now. And then that was gonna be it.
I love that. I think that's a perfect Robert Pattinson, if you're listening.
I've never told anybody that. It's like it almost happened because I used to work at it almost happened. It didn't almost happen. But I worked at an office in Brooklyn Heights, and he filmed the movie that shall not be named, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Remember Me. Don't go see it. He filmed it like 3 blocks from my office, and so I would go down there and like watch him like kind of his trailer and walk across the street to the brownstone. And this is like before even Breaking Dawn came out, so like everybody was still nuts about him. And well, they still are, but like it was really nuts. And all these 12-year-olds and me. But yeah. So
Tessa's like threat assessing, like where can I save his life at? These 12-year-olds are a little too close.
Somebody just try to talk him really quick, like really fast, and I'll just hit your brakes at the last second, and I'll just be between him and God. Please.
I think that's a solid plan, and you should not give up on that fantasy. That's what I say.
I'm still waiting for another opportunity. 10 years later.
That's perfect. Okay, what is the last book you read?
Before I Let Go by Kennedy Bryan was the last book I read. It's a second chance romance, a married couple that's actually divorced.
Oh.
Yeah. And like moved on, and then they just had this forced proximity situation. It's like it's like a gut-wrenching book. Like it's really like this depression themes and like I don't want to like ruin anything about the book, but it like reaches in and rearranges you and like sends you out a different person. It's that kind of book. And I got to do an event with her in the Bronx a couple weeks ago, so I read it in advance, and I was just like, I don't even know what to say. Oh, no. It's so good. I recommend it, but it's like one of those ones you have to like brace yourself for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
We actually picked that for our January buddy reads. So we're going to have an episode on Before I Let Go, because we've seen nothing but like raving reviews for it. And kind of like you said, that it's like a really emotional read. Like it'll kind of just make you feel all the things. So we need to go into that mentally prepared for sure.
Do a huddle, like everybody eat your weeds, stretch out, like, some meditation beforehand. But no, but you'll be happy you read it. And it's like there's also some really joyful, like some super joyful parts of it too. It's not all like depressing. It's not depressing at all. It's like, but there's hard parts, and then there's like really light parts as well.
It's an emotional journey.
Yeah.
We're excited to get to that one. Okay, let's see. What is a book that changed your life, if you have one?
I would say, so my first romance novel was Hidden Fires by Sandra Brown when I was 14. And that definitely changed my life because it was my first, like I was on a really boring family reunion, and I found it in my grandmother's luggage, and I was just like, oh, what's this? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was 14. I just like hid myself away and reread it like 3 times, cover to cover. And I was like the horniest 14-year-old. I was like, it was so embarrassing. Like, nobody had any idea like that I was just sitting there horning out on the couch. Like,
it's your sexual awakening at 14 years old.
It really was. But I like, and then further down the road, I started reading Julie Garwood and her historical books. And the way she writes her characters, like these really kind of like noble but gruff, like they don't speak very much heroes, just like really grumpy heroes. And these like peppy, loyal, like brave, fierce heroines. And that combination is something like I always want to emulate. Like when I'm writing, it's just something that it really appeals to me, that combination. So I would say Julie Garwood would probably change me as like a writer, you know, like made me want to write. So
I love that. And I definitely get that from your books too.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
Good job.
Good job. 10 out of 10. Okay. This is a really important question. Who is a main character in a book that you want to smash?
Oh my God.
Where to start?
There's a lot of choices.
Oh my gosh, there's so many choices. I would say probably, for some reason, I'm going to Adam Driver is what's coming into my head from the book Hypothesis. Like, I know that's not his name in the book. Yeah, like Adam Driver was not attractive to me before that book. Now he is, and I'm like really I kind of resent it. Like, I don't, he's not he shouldn't be my type, but he is now. And so that's what's coming to mind. Yeah.
I think that's a great answer. I would also smash.
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting that, really. I don't know what I was expecting, but not Adam Driver.
Yeah, I know. It's so unfair. Take it out of me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is not on our list, but I texted Emily last night and I said, remind me to ask Tessa this. Mm-hmm. Okay. I just read Happenstance last night. I finished it. So my question to you is fuck, marry, kill, Tobias, Banks, Gabe.
I mean, I feel like this is so obvious, though. I feel like it would definitely be kill Tobias. Like,
kill Tobias?
Yeah, no, he's out. Yeah, he's my favorite one.
He's my favorite one.
I'm still gonna kill him, though. He's my favorite one, and I'm gonna kill him. So yeah, no, I'm definitely marrying Banks. I mean, like that's husband material. That's husband dick. That man. He's capable. He keeps a level head. He's always checking in with her to make sure she's okay. Mm-hmm. I love that. So yeah, I'm gonna marry Banks. I guess I'm gonna fuck Gabe. You know what? I'm absolutely fucking Gabe. Because I love a man who can't last.
Finishes quick. Yeah.
I'm like, please. Like, it's such a compliment to me.
I align. My answer is fuck Tobias, marry Tobias, kill Tobias.
Oh, yeah, you're a big fan. I love it as well. You know what's crazy is that starting today, the cover of that book is going to be on a billboard in Times Square for a week.
Oh my gosh, I was just there. I would have
What?
taken a picture with it.
It's
awesome.
starting. I guess it's there right now. I'm going tomorrow. I'm going to go in the city tomorrow and see it. But yeah, I was like, how funny is it that started as a joke on TikTok and now it's a billboard in Times Square? It almost doesn't feel real. So
That's iconic.
huge.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah.
on
thank
that.
you. I know they just
Congratulations.
emailed me out of the blue. They're like, Amazon selected your book to be on a billboard, and I was like, why? That one? I was like, are you
Yeah,
sure?
that one. That was my. I was like, so they're not. They don't know what they're in for.
They don't know. I'm like, I wanted to ask them, like, is this their first, like, why choose book you put up on a billboard? But I don't even think they would know what that is. So.
Just don't mention it.
Yeah.
Just
Just ask them after when the billboard comes down.
Let me
Yeah.
surprise.
Okay, I
That's
think we get
awesome.
into it, Em.
Yeah, I think that we broke the ice. Hopefully we're all definitely just ready to vibe. But I guess just over the past few years, like Booksta and BookTok have really kind of just like blown up. And I think it's changed a lot of people's lives, a lot of authors' lives, especially just because of the acknowledgement that you're getting and just books are, I mean, you're on a billboard now. That's amazing. That's so cool. And that's how, Jess and I met. Like, I just think it's really kind of taken like the book world by storm. And so I guess just your journey these past 2 years, kind of how has BookTok and Bookstagram, changed your life, or what do you think about it?
I think so many things about it. I think it has really changed. It's changed my career for like 100%. Like I tell you, like I've been recognized in public and like 10 times, which is 10 more times than I had ever been. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've never been recognized in public. So the fact that I go and I'm at the waxing place, the girl sitting next to me was like, "Are you Tessa Bailey?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, like, how do you know who that is?" Like, it's crazy. And I'm so grateful for it. Like, I actually really enjoy it. I really enjoy TikTok. I genuinely like love it. I think the platform itself doesn't take itself too seriously. It's like very light. It's like it celebrates weirdness. It's like I feel like I can go on there and my sense of humor is appreciated, and it's like it's just I like it. I feel like I found a home there. It's been wild. My theory about it is that Colleen Hoover kind of like created this gateway to romance. I really do think that she kind of did.
Yeah.
And I think it's like this generation, because a lot of the readers that are on TikTok are so young. And they weren't really reading my books before. Like I think they're college age and younger. Like I'm going to signings now and people are there with their parents. Like they're that young. Wow. And I love it. I think it's fantastic because I think romance is really healthy. It puts you in a mindset of like standards. Like I can have standards.
Absolutely.
I can stick to them and I deserve this. And that's what I had growing up and I've always been grateful for it. So I think like it was like this during this pandemic, there was like this missing thing. There's no angst to be had because nobody was in school and nobody was around their peers. And like they found that thing they were craving in romance. And I just really think, I think it was like this missing piece for people during that time when there was no social aspect of life and there was no there's no heartbreak and there was no romance and things you normally would encounter in your life that age they didn't have it, and so like they found it here and now it's become this lifelong love. So I just think it's just like a weird twisted fate that it just blew up this way. And the book talk got so big, but I mean the way it's affected my career is just it can't even be quantified. It's really just been crazy.
Yeah. That's so amazing. I think romance too in general has really gotten a lot more respect over these past few years too. Like I feel like readers never took romance as seriously as they should, you know? And I think we read a lot of romance. That's generally like the genre we read. And so I think you're totally right about just, setting standards, and you're reading these different types of books and like just really letting it kind of like envelop you. And I think that's important, like you said, for these young readers who aren't experiencing that or weren't able to experience that.
It's very cool. It's really like, because readers are demanding respect for it. I mean, I've never seen, it used to be like when I started doing this taboo thing, like, oh, you kind of like, you were embarrassed to go to the checkout at the bookstore with your book, and like you kind of were embarrassed to tell people you read romance. And now it's like, the attitude has completely changed to like, no, like this is what I read. I'm proud of it. Yes, I like butt stuff. Yes, I like
amen
and like dragon porn, and like I love it. Like, I mean, they're just so unafraid to like say what they love now. And demand more of it, and tell authors like, please write this. This is what we want. And I feel like it's great that that's really been embraced, and that like that it's just that bravery there that wasn't there before. It's great.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Jess and I actually have talked about this before, where women, I think, are just embracing their sexuality more, and they're not embarrassed of it. Like, I went to New York last week, and we took the subway, and I saw women sitting there, reading those covers with like, the sexy shirtless guys on the front cover. And I love to see it, because I feel like in the past women would cover it, or they would never read that in public. And now it's like, no, like I want to read about butt stuff, and I want to read about foursomes, and I'm not afraid to tell them, So
it's refreshing. I love it.
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm echoing everything that you both said. I think it's just, I don't know. It's so fun for me too, to like, everybody is a reader now. Like I used to like tiptoe and be like, oh, like do you read books? Like whatever. And now everybody's like, this is what I'm reading. These are my book recs. Like you should read it too. Like there's anal. This is like, and it's like, nobody cares. And it's just like such a cool community. And I think book lovers are some of the best people in the world. Like at a Polycon, we didn't meet like one rude person. Like everybody was just so welcoming and like so down to have a conversation. And just that whole aspect too is just, I don't know, it's so beautiful.
It is a big community. I like, people are always, so I do a lot of like if I go into a bookstore to do a signing or something, the owners will always comment to me, you're like, the romance readers are the best people we get in here for these signings. Like they're always conscientious and kind to each other. They're like they're always positive. They always have a really good attitude. They're so excited. And that's something that like we have that no other genre has. I think this community is like just the best, second to none.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Fully agree.
Yeah. Hard agree. And we get that on Bookstagram too. We're not we're on BookTok, but I think Bookstagram is the platform that we use the most. And I can't even tell you how many conversations I have daily about romance books and different kind of kinks, and just it's so fun to be able to find people to talk to about that stuff and just really, I don't know.
It's like
on that level.
People are like on Bookstagram are like, okay, like here's my top 5 friends to lovers. There's just always, it's like the unique quality of it, the posts, like especially lately, the creativity of it. That was never. I mean, it's always been creative, but now it's like, here's Harry Styles' album covers like as a book, and just it's like boundless and endless. It's really impressive.
Yeah, I can't relate to that because I'm not that creative.
You are so creative, Jess. Get out of here. It is though. People are so creative, so funny. I look at posts and I'm like, why didn't I think about that?
The meme posts are like the ones where I tagged in like memes about my book. I'm like, they're making fun of me and I'm dying laughing. It's great.
Oh my gosh. Okay, speaking of that, do you ever go on Goodreads and read reviews of your books and just be like, oh, what the fuck? Like we read, there's this account called Goodreads Reviews on Instagram,
I
and they
follow
post
it.
1 stars and just like the most outrageous shit. Like, how do you take that as an author? Like,
Although
obviously,
I did see one yesterday that was like a 1-star review that they posted, and it was like, it was like, how horny do you have to be to sleep with the guy who killed your father in front of you? 1 star, and I was like, what's the name of the book?
Right?
I get that.
But it was, yeah, I do not. Well, sometimes if like a book, if like review copies have gone out, and so I know it's not like on sale to the general public yet. It's just gone out to like 30 or 40 reviewers. I will go on there to see like what the temperature is, because like we usually, with that first big sampling of reviewers, I can kind of gauge like, okay, this one's gonna land, or this one maybe isn't everybody's favorite. Sometimes I'll get books like where I'm like, okay, people are gonna hate it or they're gonna love it, and like with that happened with Summer, Hook, Line, and Sinker, I'm like, it was like, okay, these ones are good, like so I kind of gauge like with those first sampling of reviews, like how a book is being received. But otherwise, no, like I would never go on now to just like read through reviews of like a random book, because it's just gutting, you know? People are brutal in there.
People are.
Yeah.
And that's fine, because those aren't for me, you know, like those like reviews aren't for me. They're for readers to talk to each other or to share their point of view, or like record their feelings on the book for themselves, and that's totally fine. It's just not for me. It's not for me to look at.
That's totally fair. That's like reading negative comments on like a post or something like that. It's just like we don't need that.
You can ignore that. I'll be in ignorance. That's
you know,
fine.
if you read too many negative reviews, you'll change your style of writing, and you know you'll eventually that will sink in too much, and you'll start to feel like you need to start writing to satisfy like people that maybe didn't like a certain book. So I just find like I just want to maintain the way I write. I want to maintain this feeling I have of like, let me just write what I love, and if everybody likes it, they do, and if they don't, they don't. But I have to write what I like, and not having that influence in the back of my head, you know.
I love that. I think that's amazing. And I think like obviously what you're doing has worked. I think Emily and I talk about this all the time, that we think it's really cool that readers have such different opinions. And even Emily and I, like, we don't agree a lot of the time on the books that we read, but like we have conversations about it and we kind of move on. And I think that's really, I don't know, I think that's the cool thing about everybody being a reader now, is that there's so many different perspectives, and like obviously we're not all gonna like the same books, but it's just cool that we can talk about it, I think. I
do have like I will look, first of all, like my books, some of my books are rated higher than Catcher in the Rye on Goodreads. So like,
she's doing something right.
Yeah. So like, congratulations to me. But like something I will do though, like sometimes I'll get tagged. I get tagged in bad reviews sometimes. I think all authors do. So one of the things that I do to like kind of combat that feeling of like, oh, like it's a blow to your midsection, you know, like to see somebody say something, you know, negative. I will go to my favorite books on Amazon, and I will go read the 1-star reviews on those books.
Oh.
And I'll be like, they're like, I completely disagree with these reviews. And so like it's just a way of kind of you know, validating this feeling of like, you know, it's art and it's subjective, and not everybody's going to feel the same, because everybody has a different life experience leading up to the moment they read this book that's going to shadow how they see everything that happens in this book, right? Yeah. So you kind of have to, anyways, just take it with the bad. But you got to hope at the end of the day that more people like it than hate it.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the case with you, though. I think, like you said, like it is so subjective when you go into a book. Like it's not going to be for everyone, and I can't relate to being an author because I'm not. But I feel like you have to have that mentality, which it seems like you do, where it's like it's not going to be for everyone, but people out there are going to love it, like me and Jess. And so that's all that matters.
We're the funniest people who ever walked this earth, and there's people out there that are like 1 star.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's how, I mean, that's how people feel about me in general. So yeah, so I can relate to that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We want to talk a little bit about like your specific books too, or just like kind of like your process, because like we said, we're not authors, obviously. We don't know. We tried to be. I don't know what we were doing. We were drunk
Don't
or
even want to
something.
talk about that.
Yeah.
We don't talk about author game.
Seriously. But talk us through kind of like what does that process look like when you're writing? Like, do you have kind of an idea of the characters, or do you start with the plot, or is it just kind of like whatever happens, you just go with it?
Yeah. So I really I think you'll probably agree that I really write books that are character driven. All plot, no vibes, or was it all vibes, no plot? But like, yeah, I start with the characters. So I give the characters a past and a present. Like, I give them a past, and then I give them basically the future where I want them to end up at the end of the book.
Okay.
So like, I give them a starting point, which is like the things they've gone through in the past. Again, where I want them to be by the end of the book, and then in the middle, which is where the meat of the book, like what I'm working with, there has to be something in their past or futures that are keeping them from being apart, because that's what a romance novel is. That's the hallmark of a good romance novel, is that there is something keeping these two people apart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a web, it's like I got the past and the futures, and then I weave it together in the middle to kind of create the conflict. I'm not like a super intricate plotter, because once I meet the characters, they just tend to be different than I expected them to be, especially when they're on the page together. Like, their relationship, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's nothing like I expected. Like, I just didn't expect them to interact this way. I didn't expect her to be so affected by him. Or like, I'm reading a book right now. It's a Christmas book for 2024. 2023. And the characters like got on the page together, and they were just like completely polarized by each other. Like, they couldn't function. They were so taken with each other. And I was like, what? What am I supposed to do now? I was like, what do I do now? Because it was supposed to be a slower process for them to fall for each other. But no, it was they met and they were well, that's the person.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's still conflict and there's still a reason they can't be together, but it's really been a struggle to I had to reevaluate everything, and I had to go back and restructure the plot. So I kind of I write out the beats that I know I need to hit to make the plot make sense. And what happens in between is usually pretty organic, because that's how I want it to feel. I want it to feel like the characters are reacting naturally to what's happening. So yes, I do plot, but it's pretty loose and it ends up changing. And I let my characters run the show.
I think that's so interesting, because
That's
I've heard other authors say that they kind of just let the characters write the story, and they, kind of just let the, like you said, run the show. And it's interesting because in your head, they become real people. You are writing them, but they're telling you what to write, essentially. And I feel like that's so interesting, to even try and fathom in my head.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's fascinating.
It is they become real characters, and you can tell when you read it. My favorite book of yours is It Happened One Summer, and even reading that book, they felt like real people to me. They felt like they were truly interacting with each other. I wanted to meet them. It was so just quirky and clever. I don't know. I can definitely see what you're saying with your writing kind of journey, how you get there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's so fascinating. Do you, when you're writing, obviously you write a lot of humor into your books, which I love about you, and I think you are so funny. I laugh out loud all the time. When you're writing, do you okay, he's gonna say this, and then you're she says this, and then you're just yeah. You're yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
How do you keep that banter going? And I don't know, it's so chef's kiss in my opinion, with the back and forth.
Thank you. It's like, I think the banter is really important. I think like banter, it's like, okay, yes, they are attracted to each other. Yes, they are banging like bunnies. Like we know that's there. But I think like the long haul, like to just like for me to believe the characters are in this relationship for the long haul, I need to know that they can make each other laugh and that they can have interesting conversations, because I think that's a really important part of a relationship. And so I think banter goes a long way. And it's realistic that these people could tolerate each other for 60 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's funny, like when I write banter, they totally surprise me sometimes, and I'll just like, I won't see it coming, and then somebody will like hit me with like a good line, and I'll just like, I'll have to stop writing for a second and be like, wow, like high five myself. But I really enjoy that part of it. And it's the best, like when you get characters where the banter comes naturally, because sometimes it doesn't, you know, sometimes like you have a character who's just like a lot quieter or more internal. The banter is like more like you have to like pull it out of them. But then you get characters like Brendan and Piper, or like, you know, Fox and Hannah, or Secretly Yours coming in February. Julian, like Julian and Hallie, they have really good banter. And it's just like, it's a joy. It really is a joy writing it, because it just comes so natural.
Agree. I loved. We'll talk about Secretly Yours in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I see it behind you on the shelf.
Yeah, I was like, I'll just play all my Tessa Bailey books.
Perfectly placed. Wow, what a coincidence! It's right behind you.
Yeah, I had no idea. Oh gosh.
I think that my favorite part of like reading a book is being able to picture the characters in my head. Like I try and cast them all the time. When you think of your characters, do you do that? Like, do you have a certain person in your head that you're picturing as you write them?
It's weird. Like sometimes I do. Like I pictured Tyler Cameron for Fox. I don't know if you guys know that, but
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either, but I could see it.
Do you know that? Okay, so do you guys know that he messaged me on Instagram to say, I guess he'd been tagged in a bunch of posts because people were like, this is who, you know, Tessa imagined for Fox and Glenn Sinker. He messaged me and he was like, hey, congratulations on all the book success. Thanks for like mentioning me in like when you talk about your book. Like, that's so cool.
Oh my God.
So nice and not creepy that I was like, oh great, now I'm like infatuated with this guy.
Literally, I would have been like telling everyone Tyler Cameron's in love with me.
Yeah,
We're dating.
It's embarrassing. He actually, and then his assistant messaged me and asked me to be on his podcast, and I was like, sure, like here's my open dates, and then I never heard back, and I was like, maybe I was too eager. I don't know.
His loss. It's fine.
I don't know, but hopefully someday I hear back. Still holding up hope, Tyler. But a lot of the times I see silhouettes of my characters. It's very odd. Like I know what the silhouette of their body and their head is, and so like a lot of times there's silhouette and voice when I'm writing. But like, once I stop writing, I can picture them. But like not when I'm actively writing. So that might be weird, but mostly silhouettes with like a disembodied voice.
That makes sense. A silhouette with like a beanie on his head.
Yeah,
is what you're picturing.
Yeah. It's like broad, like a broad man, like a broad-shouldered man, and like
the lumberjack from TikTok.
Things like that. They're like textures and scents and stuff.
Yeah. You
great.
also have another fan on TikTok, apparently. Jess just mentioned, what's his name? The
Bradley
lumberjack?
Thor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's apparently playing Brendan.
Yes. It's so weird. Like there was this rumor that was going around that he was playing Brendan, and I was like, people were like, tell us the tea. And I was like, I don't know. It was weird, because he followed me one weekend, and then some other guy followed me, and then it kind of stirred up some drama. But like, no, I have no. I don't think he's going to be cast as Brendan. I've seen the list of actors that they are reaching out to.
Are you allowed to share those details?
Yeah, like you're just going to sneak that in there.
I really, it's like, I mean, like the number.
We won't tell anyone.
We'll cut this part out.
Yeah, we'll cut it out.
No, I mean, like I would like I'm not supposed to like say who they're reaching out to or like who they're considering to cast, but I know like I will tell you though that like we mutually were like Casey Diedrich would be so great, you know, as Brendan.
Wait, I don't think I know who that is.
Wait, who is it?
Oh, Casey Diedrich? Hold
I
on.
need to Google him too.
I know, we're giggling.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, I see.
So,
him.
Wait. Okay, yeah,
Okay,
I vibe with
yeah.
that.
Okay. He's better than TikTok lumberjack for sure.
Yeah, we actually talked about this in a previous podcast about how I would be mad if he was cast as Brendan because and
well,
then we got
he's
into a
not an
whole
actor.
thing.
I mean, like,
That was my point.
well, he's not an actor, so I think people would like that, and then they would actually see the movie, and you would be like, you know, not a great actor.
Yeah. My
but,
point
like,
is-
I understand the appeal of him 100%, and he is in a way acting because he's acting like he's really cares about chopping wood, but that's not. So in a way, he is an actor.
Yeah.
He sells it.
I
For
agree.
sure.
Yeah.
What has that
He's like,
process
today
been
we're
like?
working with Sequoia. I'm like, yeah, just chop the fucking wood.
Yeah.
No one cares. Just take your shirt off and swing
we're
the
all
axe.
we're here to find out what kind of wood you're chopping. Yeah,
Right.
We're
Like,
dying to
yeah.
know.
Make the sex sounds and be done with it.
Yeah. Turn off.
What has this process
Exciting,
been like
though.
for you, adapting your book to be a movie? Like, are you
Yeah.
super involved? Are you going to cast me and Emily as extras or stars?
Yeah. I
So,
can fly.
We'll pay you.
I'm trying to get myself cast as an extra first, and then I'll see what else I can do. I'm like, could I? So I have like a I guess I can't say anything yet, but I have like I can't say anything too specific, but I have a phone call with the director.
Mhm.
So like then I'm gonna start. Then we'll see. I think he has to probably establish that I'm like a chill vibe maybe. So I can like be an extra in his movie, my movie. But like yeah, the process has been like in a way I just like don't believe it's happening.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like I keep kind of going along with it, but in the back of my head I'm like, oh, it's gonna get chopped any second now. I can feel it. I'm like so afraid. But then like a couple of weeks ago it became like the next step happened and we're like, okay, you can actually get really excited now. And I was like, oh my god. So it's kind of like just felt like a dream. It doesn't really feel real. I don't think I'll really believe it until I see like the movie on the screen. So it just doesn't seem like something that would ever happen to me.
That is
I genuinely
amazing.
think if anyone threatened to chop this movie, there would be a petition and some very like people would be pissed off. So
Yeah.
I don't think that would happen. We would
People would
crowdfund the money to
riot.
make this movie happen.
Yeah, no, I like that was my main concern is that, you know, these things just happen. These movies like get all the way to the finish line, and like even with huge stars in them, and then they just get dropped or get delayed or something. The funding gets taken away.
Yeah.
Like you read about it all the time happening to like just movies with big, huge movie stars in them. And so I was like, well, it can easily happen to mine then. But so my biggest fear was letting down readers. I don't want to let down readers. You know, like that's really something that's weighing on me a lot. So whenever there's like next step that happens in the movie, with the movie process, I'm like, oh god, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big relief. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. We're all so excited about it. I literally can't wait. I know you can't say much, but is it like a 2023 release? Is it
I think the idea is to be filming it by the middle of next year, and
Okay.
then probably release the following year.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
ideally, so yeah.
We'll
Fingers
clear our
crossed.
schedules for the
Yeah, 2024, nothing planned.
Okay. Where do we want to go next?
Yeah, where do we go from here? Okay, so I guess out of all the books you've written, is It Happened One Summer the one that you'd want to be a movie, or do you think that some of your other books deserve to be a movie, or which one would be your favorite that you'd love to see like come to the big screen?
So it's always going to be like, the answer is always the one I'm writing right now, you know. It's always the one that feels the most real to me. And this Christmas book I'm writing really does feel like a movie. It's like, you know, the two children of these like massive 90s pop stars that are they are like trying to reunite them for Christmas Eve, and like they've been offered $1 million a piece to like reunite their parents. Yeah, from this like massive 90s pop band, and they fall in love, and it's like all these crazy situations are happening. They're being filmed for a reality show. It's like it's like, I don't know. It just, I can see it so clearly as a movie. But like prior to that, I would say absolutely It Happened One Summer. It just felt bigger to me. I don't know if it's like that I was in lockdown when I wrote that. That like all I had to focus on was this book and these characters. There was nothing else going on. Everything was shut down. Like the world was shut down. And it just like freed up my headspace so completely that I was like diving into the story and letting it absorb me like 10 hours a day. And it just felt like the best book I'd ever written while I was writing it, you know? And it felt special. The characters felt so special and real. So the fact that one's going to be the movie feels really fitting.
Yeah, that's awesome. That, like I said, that's my favorite. That's honestly kind of what put you on the map for me, was It Happened One Summer, and now I'm working through your backlist and secretly yours too, reading that one. So we're excited.
I genuinely think all of your books could be a movie. Like, I don't, like, there's none that I'm like, I think this would be better as a book. Like, I think even like I just read Getaway Girl and I was like, oh my god, I love this. Like, this is so great. Like this could be a TV series or like a movie. Like, so good.
I love that book so much. I love it so much. It's getting into I'm just telling everybody everything.
Tell us.
My publisher, so I'm getting a new cover. It's getting new covers, long story short. And like, I feel like they're the most perfect, wonderful covers for Runaway Girl and Runaway Girl. So it shouldn't be long until I can show those to everybody. But there's something about that book too that also is like, you can see it in your head.
Yeah.
So clearly. Yeah.
I have to read that one. Jess just told me, she raved about it, loved it. So I definitely have to.
Yeah,
my TBR.
I think that kind of goes on, like, you have so many books out there that I don't even think readers realize. I found your backlog on your website, so I'm working my way through that. But if you could, I mean, give any book of yours a shout out that you think is like underrated or like deserves more hype, what would it be?
So I have this book called Risking It All that has long been like one of my favorite books. It's Risking It All. It's the first book in a like romantic suspense series, but the suspense is like really easy to follow. It's just more focused on romance. He's like the heir to like the mafia throne in Brooklyn, and she is an undercover cop who's been sent in to investigate him. And she thinks that he killed her brother. And so, like, she should not be having feelings for this man. He is so, like, just like magnetic. And he's got the filthiest mouth. That is actually the book where my mother tried to read and immediately was like, I'm never going to read your book. I'm so sorry. She was like, my flesh wanted to continue, but my heart wouldn't let me. Mom.
Oh, I'm immediately going to read that after this.
We get off this call. The hero's name is Bowen Driscoll, and he's like one of my favorite heroes I've ever written to this day.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah, must read.
He's obsessive and kind of like a little bit like crazy.
I love that.
For lack of a better term.
I love a crazy man.
I'm excited. I think that kind of like sparks this next question, like, it authentically is like, what is your process for writing steamy scenes? Like, when I think of like a steamy book, like, who's gonna give me a steamy book? I'm like, Tessa Bailey, like one of her books for sure. Like, I think one of my favorite things about you is like, you don't shy away from like unconventional sex and but that is like actually normal, like butt stuff, how we joked about that. Like, I think that's one of my favorite things about your book is that you're just like, let's just like put it all out there. The dirty talk, so good. Like, what is your process for that? And I guess, like, I know you said the characters kind of write themselves. Like, do they write their like sexy
what they're into
personalities, like their kinks and stuff? Yeah, do they write those too?
It's like sometimes those will develop in the moment, and I won't see it coming because I get like, you know, I said before that I really like to keep everything feeling organic and like it's natural, and like I haven't planned it down to like every last detail. And the sex is like very much like that, where sometimes I won't realize like until they're in the act that like, he
likes a finger there.
She wants her hair pulled. She wants to be pushed down, like face down, and like rump up, you know. And like, or he like in actually the book I'm writing right now, like the hero likes to be denied, like he likes to be like basically denied orgasms, and that like features in the whole plot. Like the whole plot of the book had to change because it just. Like the way that interacted with the heroine it just changed things. But I think that you should really like embrace that when it happens as a writer, because like sex is something that it should feel like natural and not so mechanical. Like I really think it should feel like they're luxuriating in each other, and like. As a woman, I really find like I'm turned on when I'm being objectified, and because so like as long as the woman is consenting to it and likes it, I think being objectified can be really sexy because like during the day we're so many different things. We're like mothers and sisters, and we're like employees and all these different things. But like when you're having sex, you have to focus on your pleasure. You have to focus on reaching your peak. And I think when you're being objectified and all you are is the sexual being for a little while, that's really hot. And so like, you're totally agree. Like, that pussy, you'll hear a lot of that, and things like that, where she's just kind of been reduced to like this pleasure seeking vessel. And that just like, I'm turned on when I'm writing the scenes. And so I think that probably comes across. Because I'm doing fantasies too, you know, like I'm writing what makes me hot, like what I think is hot. And I love talking dirty. I love being talked dirty too. And I think there's something so hot about that filter being gone, especially for men, because men, it's like we spend so much of our time like trying to figure out what they're thinking. And so like it's really nice and refreshing to like not have to think about that during sex. Like, he's just telling you it's so hot. He's telling you he's turned on. He's telling you likes the way that feels. And it's hot. Isn't anybody? It's hot.
Yeah. I'm like, right? Emily's nipples are hard.
Yeah, my nipples. Oh God. Last episode, I made the mistake of telling Jess, I was like, Jess, are your nipples hard right now? I'm getting excited. That's so true, though. You are definitely the queen of spice. Like, when I read your spicy scenes, I'm like, Tim, you got to come home from work. That's my husband. Like, I'm ready for you, baby. He gets excited when I read Tessa Bailey. So you do a good job.
Literally. And I think it's so, yeah. I think it's, I don't know. It's just cool to like hear you talk about it. And just, I think one of the things that's so normal now is like ass eating and eating ass. And like butt stuff, like, and so I love that you write that. I keep going back to that, but Emily and I always talk about that. We're like, did our parents eat ass? Like, was that a thing?
Is this new? Like, is that
I don't know, but there's something like about it that like when a man does that, like it's just like, yeah, like there's nothing for you to be self-conscious of. He's like willing to go and see it all and do it all, and like it just erases those like fears of, oh, I'm not gonna like that, he's not gonna like me down there. And it's like, do we all have those? We all do.
Do.
So like we like just get in there and like motorboat that butt, like, like yes. Like,
and I think it's the organic thing to do. Yeah, like it just makes sense. You're already down there.
And I did like there. Learn to lick something.
I did like in Getaway Girl how she eats his ass.
Yeah, like she's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
She has that big badonkadonk, like, and she's like obsessed with it. And I feel like that's where like my like obsession with like giving my heroes like bubble butts started. Yeah.
I love that.
I love bubble butts. I feel like that's something that came when I turned 30. I was like, wait, I like bubble butts now. Like I turned 30 and it's like on.
I think that's a natural progression in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you also just wrote your first reverse harem too. So how was that? I mean, was that that was new for you?
That was so new. It was like kind of like I was like, okay, how do I give all 4 of these characters depth and like growth throughout this book that's really just about boning? So the struggle was that, and it was also just making sure that like everybody was getting equal time on the page, and like one wasn't the overwhelming favorite. Like I really had to like, you know, like every time Tobias was like edging ahead, I was like, okay, time for a Banks chapter, or time for a game chapter, because I just like was really trying to make sure that like there was a reason to love all 3 of them, and as well as Elise. So yeah, it was definitely fun. It was a new experience. I enjoyed it. I think that was really. It's nice to challenge yourself as an author, and I think it's essential too to not keep writing the same books and to keep things fresh. You have to kind of like go, okay, I'm going to do something risky once in a while, to make sure that you don't fall into patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for that reason, it was great. Yeah.
Do you think that you'll write more reverse harem?
Probably not.
You got your billboard. You're good.
Yeah, I'm like, where else can I go from here except down? Probably not. But I loved it. I don't know. Never say never. I would never discount writing another one, but I don't have any plans for the next 2 years at least.
Gotcha. Well, I guess that's a good kind of segue into what we want to talk about next, is just what you kind of have upcoming. I know that Secretly Yours, we're both very excited about this one. And is there anything you kind of want to give the listeners a little sneak peek of Secretly Yours, what to expect?
Secretly Yours comes out in February 7th, I think, or 8th.
Yeah.
And she is a hippy dippy, like free-spirited gardener, and he is a history professor who is obsessed with schedules and managing time. And she kind of like had an almost kiss with him in high school and has followed him ever since, like kind of on Facebook or Instagram and things like that, on YouTube, like where he posts his lectures. And she's always kind of carried this torch for him. And he is the heir also to this like winery. The series takes place in Napa Valley. So he comes home to write a book, and she kind of like finagles her way into becoming the gardener at his house. And they just like, he's like completely bowled over by her. Like he has no idea what to make of this, like just like bumble of energy with her 3 dogs and her like mismatched clothing and her dirty knees. And he's like, I should not be so attracted to this woman. But he is. And so like they basically decide they're not compatible, but she's kind of like still carrying this torch. She starts writing him secret admirer letters. So like as he's kind of like becoming fascinated by this woman who's writing him the secret admirer letters, he's also falling for the gardener, and he's like, what's going on? You know? But it's a really funny book. It's like, I think it's probably one of my funniest books. It's just like crazy funny capers of like stealing cheese in the middle of the day from the store, and like chasing gophers, and it's crazy and fun. So I think people are gonna like it. It's gonna be the perfect spring book to like after the heavy winter to like kind of like palate cleanse.
I fully agree. Yeah, Emily and I both read and loved it. I I think this might be controversial, but it might be I might like it just a little bit more than It Happened One Summer. And I love that book too, but I don't know. I just really resonated with the characters, like you said. I thought it was hysterical. I was cracking up at Cheeseburglar and just like Julian, like his whole like demeanor and how he's like a soft top, I would call it. I just was obsessed with him. And like, I don't think we talk about this enough, but I think you are such like an amazing writer. Like the words you use, you're like beautifully written, like so quotable, so introspective. So, and I think this book like really delivers that. So I'm excited for everybody else to read it and be on the Julian Voss book boyfriend train.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad to hear you liked it so much. And then the one that follows it up in the duet is Unfortunately Yours in June. And that's like, I don't want to oversell it, but he's my favorite hero.
Is he the one that says your tits look amazing?
Your tits look insane.
Yeah.
So like, you meet him a little bit in Secretly Yours, August Cates. He's like a Navy SEAL turned vintner. Which always happens in real life. It's so realistic. You know how many Navy SEALs are winery owners, right? But yeah, so anyways, you'll meet him in Secretly Yours, and then you get him like only like 4 months later. So
yeah,
books coming out next year. I'm like really excited about all of them.
We are too. I was telling Jess and I were talking. We were here a half hour early because we were so nervous, and we were just chatting. And I told her I love Secretly Yours, but I'm actually more excited for Unfortunately Yours. I think just the characters, I'm gonna just maybe like them a little more. Not that I didn't obviously like the characters in Secretly Yours, but they just stood out to me in Secretly Yours. I loved them.
It's actually the Navy SEAL, like bliss. Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah,
I'm excited. For that one.
Oh my gosh!
And then the Christmas one. We are Christmas girlies. We love it. So to know we have something to look forward to next year, I'm so excited.
Yeah, the title is actually Wreck the Halls.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, I don't think I've announced that yet. I don't have a cover yet, but Wreck the Halls, and that comes out in the fall of next year. So it's going to be like boom, 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 3 books.
Big year.
So I'll just be right here.
Literally. No, I'm excited. And can we just like take a minute for the covers of Secretly and Unfortunately Yours? Like stunning, gorgeous. Love the illustration, and top it off, like they're pink and purple. Like I'm biased, but those are my favorite colors. So all around.
Thank you. Oh, I love it too. I like, we were like, okay, we did the blues, like the blue and the teal with the last series. Let's do something like fun and springy.
I love it.
And so I love it. And then I asked them for Wreck the Halls for Christmas next year. I was like, we do like silver and gold. And so I'm like really excited to see what they do. They've been nailing my covers forever. So I'm just like lucky. I'm just a lucky person.
I'm just lucky.
Well, you know, if you need any readers, we're here. We'll be right here. So we would gladly just give you our opinions.
Yeah. Well, reach out to me. Let me know. You know, if you see something that I have that you like.
All of that, Tessa.
Everything.
Was that not clear?
All of it.
No, seriously. I think that's all the questions that we have for you. We are so excited for everybody to read Secretly Yours and Unfortunately Yours. And we're excited to read Unfortunately Yours and Wreck the Halls. Emily, okay, I'll give this to her. She's like very slutty for Christmas. Like I love Christmas, but Emily is like ho ho ho. Seriously. So this is gonna be like right up her alley. Like if you couldn't tell by her feed, she's all Christmas vibe. So we're excited.
Yeah, and we are so honored that you came and talked to us, and it gave us some information that we wanted to know about, especially the movie coming up. I have a new guy to fangirl over, Casey.
Oh yeah,
he's a hottie.
Yeah, look up his kissing scenes in so he's got a show called In the Dark, and like look up the kissing scenes. Like he's so good at doing intimacy on camera. Like
look up his kissing scenes.
I mean, like I'll be happy with any of the people that they have on this list. To be honest, though. So
honestly,
we'll just see what happens.
Yes. Thank you so much, seriously, for being here. Emily and I went back and forth. We were like, who do we want on the podcast? And then I was like, Tessa Bailey followed us back. Like, she follows both of us. And then I'm literally to Emily, I'm like, should I shoot our shot? Should I shoot it? She's like, yeah, do it. And you were just like, so, like, you were like, yeah, I'd love to. Like, it was just so easy to talk to you. And like, you were just so down. And so we just appreciate that. Like, I don't think you know how much this means to us, seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. You know, it means a lot to me that you guys read my books and enjoy them and, you know, spread the word about them. And, you know, you're the reason I get to do this. So thank you very much. I'm really appreciative. Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So fun. Well, I guess we can say we're officially friends with Tessa Bailey. So if you like this episode and want to continue reading along with us, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Friends with Books Pod. We will announce all of our upcoming buddy reads and segments, even though I'm pretty sure nothing's ever going to beat this.
Agree. I don't know if Tessa Bailey would say that we are also friends with her, but we're just gonna
we're rolling with it.
Friends for life.
But yes, in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to the podcast and tune in to next week's episode. Bye.
See ya later.